We are back, episode 144, and we're here on set live at the Fields Golf Club in LaGrange, Georgia.
And it looks a lot different than what they're used to.
Yeah.
This is their first time seeing this since last time we're here. So here at the Fields, the BSG podcast presented by friends at Moon Golf. But today, though, we have our new friend. I'm going to say friend because we're going to become friends. Michael Decker on here. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
So if you don't know, this is Michael. Michael's the new golf pro here at the Fields, which since I've been golfing, I don't know if Charlie, was he a golf pro? I guess
Yeah,
before? Okay.
Charlie's about the only one I've known
That's the
out
only
here.
one,
I think he's had a couple in the past. It's
Okay.
been a while, though.
Yeah, so this is exciting.
It's been neat.
A lot of people excited about this.
Yeah.
Especially a younger guy too that has some energy and stuff.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I'm excited about that. But so Michael, when I was kind of reading up on you, began golfing in South Carolina, right?
Yeah, in Columbia. I played a little bit growing up, but, I was more into basketball and baseball and football, and golf just was kind of always in the way of the seasons.
Yeah.
And I wasn't any good at it,
Mm-hmm.
Most things came pretty natural to me, and
Yeah.
then golf was frustrating. So I gave a
Feel
couple attempts at it. I
Yeah.
used my granddad's clubs, but quickly quit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then about 21 years old, when I was in Columbia, South Carolina,
Mm-hmm.
that's when I started playing. I got a job at Oak Hills Golf Club, and the pro couldn't pay me a whole lot of money, but he said, I'll give you a lesson every week.
Man, that's a deal.
That's what I need.
Yeah.
Yeah, I took a 30-minute lesson every Sunday and just hit a lot of golf balls, played a lot of golf.
Okay, that's
learned
my
the business.
question, because when Ashley posted about you, one of the things he said about you was went from a 15 handicap to scratch in a year.
Yeah.
And so I know a lot of people listening, including myself, me and him are both around that like 12, 13 handicap. And
Yeah.
so we need to know, how did that even happen? Like, how did you get there?
Yeah, well,
15 to
so,
scratch. Walk us through step by step.
yeah,
We need to
there's
know.
one thing that's not talked about a lot. There's a lot of people that want to get good at golf is the amount of time it takes.
Uh-huh.
You just got to put in the time.
That's where I'm at.
Right.
That's my
Like,
problem.
Man.
These weekend warriors that come out and they're only able to play one day a week, maybe
Yeah.
one day they can get to the range and hit balls. It's
Never
tough,
gonna do
man.
it?
It's tough.
Gosh, I'm hurting.
Yeah, it's something you gotta dedicate probably 15 to 20 hours a week.
Yeah.
Whether it's
Oh,
playing or practicing, and then when you practice, you have to practice with purpose, right?
Yeah.
You can't just go out there and hit balls and
I
Yeah.
got
you're gonna
about
get better.
20 minutes before we tee off to practice.
Oh yeah, I see people buy a large bucket,
Yeah.
and they're working on stuff before the round. Sometimes that's all you can do, you
Yeah.
know, when you're strapped with time. But
Yeah. So let me ask you then, because part of the thing for anyone listening too, if you're one of those that can only golf on the weekends and that's the only time you have, would you recommend, if you actually want to get better, not just for a hobby, but if you want to get better, instead of going and play 18, actually just going to the range then?
oh yeah, absolutely. I think you have to get a lesson, and then
Mhm.
you have to have a game plan, right? So
Yeah.
I'd say it takes between 500, sometimes it takes up to 10,000 golf balls, depending on what you're trying to fix.
A
Yeah,
lot.
10,000 for you.
Yeah, some things are easy to fix, but if you're
Yeah.
coming like big time over the top, it ain't gonna happen in 500 golf balls.
Yeah.
Right. So it does take a lot of time, but the thing is, you gotta love it too. I think a lot of people that play on the weekends and they're trying to get better, they get frustrated by the fact they're not seeing that
Yeah.
progress. Right, and then you start seeing them throwing clubs and getting angry, and
That ain't me. Don't look. I've never thrown a club. Never thrown a club. I can attest to
yeah,
that.
golf's a game that's meant to be enjoyed.
Yeah.
You know.
So then what was it for you for that 15 to scratch? Like, what was it that clicked for you to help you get to that?
Yeah, and I'll tell you, the thing about me being scratch is I wasn't genuinely scratch. I played the same golf course every day, right? So,
Yeah.
USGA.
You just figured that course out.
10 handicap wise, I was
Yeah.
a 0.0 handicap. But it wasn't until I moved to Hilton Head and started playing a different golf course every time I played that I actually learned how to play the game of golf. And now I'm a 0 handicap, and I feel good that my game travels anywhere I go. You can
Yeah.
take me to the mountains, you can take me to the river, you can take me to the desert.
Desert's different. We
yeah.
We got to go to Utah last fall, and the desert's a total different ball game.
Yeah, you just got to get used to the conditions pretty quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then if it goes OB, it's gone.
Yeah.
What was it? What part of your game did you have to work on the most to get to that level?
I mean, I think every 12 handicap could probably tell you the same thing. It's chipping and putting.
Yeah.
The game's inside 100 yards, right? So, there's some interesting stats, but essentially, once you're 170 yards out, your goal is to not lose the golf ball,
Yeah.
right? So once you get inside 100 yards, that's really where you make up the scores. And I think it opens up so much of your game. Some of it's strategy, like the weekend warrior might hit one in the trees and he's trying to hit a 50-yard fade onto the green.
Yeah.
probably not going to happen, right? So learning how to not compound errors, punch out, and when you have a really good game from 100 in, when you're in that situation, you say I can punch out to 70 yards. I feel really good about getting up and down, or making bogey at worst.
Yeah.
Or the hero shot brings in the double, the triple.
Yeah.
You know, it feels great when you hit it.
Yeah.
You know, it's awesome. All your boys get all fired up.
Oh yeah, gets everybody excited.
Yeah.
I'm thinking the sub 100. I'm very questionable to about 40 yards, because 40 you can just knock down at it and it'll go. But 40 to 100, it's like, what club do I use? How much do I take off? Give me 115 yards, let me full swing, and I'm good.
Yeah, and once you get to a higher level, at that it's 40 yards out. It's how do I want to flight the ball? Do I want it to spin on the first check or the second check?
That's
Is
never
the grain,
my question.
the knowledge part of it, you
Yeah.
know, is the grain into me? Because
Yeah.
if you land a wedge into the grain on the green, it's going to stick. It might even come back if you make good contact. But if it's down grain, you're at least going to get a bounce.
Yeah.
It might rip back, but that might be the difference between having a 3-foot putt and an 8-foot putt, right? And that's a 99.8% putt for tour pros from 3 feet. You get back to 8 feet, it's a lot less.
Yeah.
You know, it's more in the 50% range.
Yeah.
It might even be a little bit less than that from
That's
8
great.
feet.
So for everyone watching or listening that's local to the area that they want to know more about you, like, can you run us through? You kind of shared a little bit how you got into golf when you were 21, but like what it actually looked like in life getting up into golf.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I grew up in Montgomery, Alabama, and then I ventured
Roll
off.
Tide.
Oh yeah. I'm actually a Michigan fan of all
Oh, my
things. Yeah,
gosh.
of all things. My dad's from the Detroit area.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I grew up fanned in the
Yeah.
Michigan Wolverines.
Have to follow one of the parents. My 2-year-old's Alabama. She don't have a choice. We're gonna go to enough events. She's gonna have enough clothes where it's in her blood, even living in Georgia.
Oh yeah, I mean Georgia, Alabama, Auburn. You're talking about great programs.
Great.
You know,
Programs.
Auburn's a little.
Anyway,
they're
so-
great for agriculture.
Yeah, true. Agriculture. And golf. Hey, golf. #1 golf
Yeah.
team.
Okay.
So,
This
defending
is
champs right
what
now.
we're talking about.
Yeah, that's
right
what we're
now,
talking. That's
right?
all that matters right now is golf. So grew up in Montgomery.
Yeah,
and
but I was going to school to be a teacher. I thought I wanted to coach high school basketball, maybe make it to the college level. And I realized pretty quickly that that wasn't for me. You know, I was substitute teaching. I was coaching high school basketball. I had my own travel basketball team.
Oh yeah.
My stepdad owned a landscape company, so I helped him a little bit. Did some yards on my own. And then my dad actually had some issues down in Orlando, Florida, and needed some help with his business. So I, basically just washed everything and moved down there with him. And that's when I started getting some Golf Now hot deals.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
we're
love the golf
fans.
now. Yeah.
because they're 15 or 20 bucks. There's golf courses.
They're not as
all
good now
over.
as they used to be. I feel like the deals aren't as good as they used to
Shrink
be.
the game.
I want to say that's probably, that's 8 years ago, 9 years ago.
I was gonna say around 2017 is when we would get on there, and like Callaway Gardens always had a Golf Now deal. Now you can't find any.
Yeah, but I got the bug. I was waking up at 6 o'clock to go to a
Looking.
6:40 tee time.
man. Yeah.
Whatever the hot deal was, I was gonna be there. So I fell in love with the game, and then we ended up moving to Columbia, South Carolina, and looking for a job. And I was like, you know what? I'd like to try this golf thing out. And I had no idea I was going to become a golf pro.
Yeah.
I just wanted to get better at golf.
Yeah.
So I got a job at a golf course, and I was very lucky to be trained by an extremely good professional.
What were you doing when you got that job? Like just maintenance and stuff?
Yeah,
or-
as far as like the golf industry goes, that was a big thing for me, because there was days, where I would show up to the golf course, I would pick the range. This is 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
Turn the lights on, pick the range. I'd run the coolers on the golf course. I'd pull carts out. I'd fill range baskets, bring them inside the pro
Goodness
shop,
gracious.
and then I would open the pro shop.
You're everything.
Right, so I did everything. There was days I was mowing the greens, spinning the bunkers.
Yeah.
But I got a little bit of a taste of almost every aspect of the golf industry. And I truly fell in love with the profession, and then golf as well.
Yeah.
And then, I just played a lot of golf and saw my game get better really quick. It doesn't happen that quick for everyone. No one's got, 60 hours a week. That's all I did, sun up to sundown. I was either working, golfing, or practicing.
Yeah.
I dedicated my whole life to it for
Yeah.
a year. So I was fortunate enough to have that happen. And then right at the end of that, I went and took my PAT to become PGA certified and passed it.
Oh wow.
And then I
You
saw
know what you shot?
74, 76.
Man, that's
Yeah.
wild. What course was it at you had to
It
take?
was at the Hackler course. It's a Coastal Carolina's
Okay.
home course. Yeah, it's a fun course. Dustin Johnson, that's where he went to college.
Yep.
And I was hitting it, and they were telling me, the line Dustin Johnson takes. So I'm like, I think I'm good on that one.
Yeah, I'm gonna do my thing.
That might not be
I'm
in my
just
reach.
trying to keep it in play. But yeah, I passed it at Coastal Carolina, and then just got online and started looking up golf jobs and saw how much they were paying in Hilton Head.
Yeah.
So I was like, holy cow, I need to go down here. Got a job interview and just fell in love with Hilton Head. There was 57 golf courses within 30 minutes of where I live.
Yeah.
And I got to play them all,
Man.
multiple times. And that's really what helped my golf game mature. I was able to study under a top 100 Golf Digest PGA professional, Doug Weaver, really good guy. And we had 11 other pros in our resort. So
Oh man.
lots of resources. I built up a really good lesson business
Yeah.
there. Made a lot of good connections.
Yeah, you're at Palmetto, right?
Yeah, Palmetto Dunes.
Right.
Yeah, there's Palmetto Hall. There's Palmetto Bluff.
Yeah, which
They
one's
love
the Palmetto
palmettos.
that Kisner's at? Is that?
That's
Oh,
just
that's
Palmetto,
hey,
right?
that's just Palmetto.
That's
yeah,
only
that's an
Palmetto.
area.
Gotcha.
There's, yeah, that's the
bunch of palmettos.
It's the state logo.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got the palmetto on it. So
Man.
there's a lot of palmetto there.
So you just kind of got engulfed into it, like when you went to Hilton Head area.
Oh yeah, yeah. And the golf course I was working at, Palmetto Dunes, they're world renowned. Their tee times are around $280 a tee time, and they do a couple hundred golfers a day. And I was over that whole program.
Yeah.
They got a top tracer, which is very similar to what we're going to do here at TrackMan.
Yeah.
And we built that from the ground up. We were the first resort to put it in. So
Oh, that's cool.
I would say that's kind of my expertise,
Yeah.
along with giving golf lessons. It's this building right here. I'm super excited about what we got going on.
Yeah.
We're
So-
excited for this too.
Yeah. Nothing like this in this area.
And the number one thing is like you can come to bang balls in the summer. It's like it's hot.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
to have any shade, it's like that's
Well, just this kind of
early.
stuff like so if you don't know, the field's just put in all this TrackMan technology, which we talked about the last time we were here. For someone like at our skill level, a lot of when we hit, we don't have like the portable Jeep, like we don't know what our numbers really are. I know there's a flag out there, but I don't know what our club's doing. And everyone I talk to, like one of our buddies, he was a golf pro at Noonan Country Club, and he moved up, but he's always like, well, what's your club path number? I was like, I don't know what those numbers are. I don't have anything on my phone telling me. So to be able to come here and actually practice, like you said, with purpose, like I can
yeah.
look. So if people listening that are around this area and they're gonna come take a lesson with you, is it gonna be like this? Y'all gonna be using this stuff? Or y'all
Oh
gonna-
yeah,
okay.
absolutely. Yeah. So it's a little bit of a mix. I do believe the most important part of golf is chipping and putting. So I focus a lot of my area on the short game.
Yeah.
But outside of that, the driver is really important. I mean, if you're having a bad round off the tee and you're putting yourself in bad positions over and over again, it makes golf really
Yeah.
difficult.
Our number one video series is us 1v1ing, but it's a shamble because neither of us are reliable off the box.
So usually
And that's our number one issue.
Yeah, people love watch it, but we both drive, and one of us are in the fairway, and we take it, and then from there, we play our ball. But for the sake of our viewers, we do that because if not, it's like, oh, he's in the woods, he's over
Oh, I
here.
love a good shamble.
Yeah,
It
we do
does
too.
make you feel
Yeah.
better about
We
your
love
game.
it. We love
A
it.
lot less stress on that first swing.
And it's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
even it's like, if I hit a bad drive and he's up, I'm like, here we go, partner. 'Cause
Yeah,
until
do
we
it for
split,
us.
we're on the same
Yeah.
team.
And I kind of like playing your own golf ball out. you know,
I do
after
too,
that.
And it makes it fun for us because like it's still competitive, but it's fun as far as like, okay, at least we're in the fairway because it ain't no fun being in the woods, like you said, hitting a hero shot and
Yeah.
all that. But
I do this with a lot of my students. Well, just for example, like a 15 handicap, we'll go out there and do a playing lesson, and I'll tell them that the first two shots are on you, and then I'm gonna play with you the last
That's
couple,
cool.
and we'll use the
Yeah.
best ball. And that 15 handicap goes out and shoots a 74, and he's like, "Holy cow!"
that's when you realize
All
how
it takes
important
is
the
that
short game.
100 in
Oh,
the
yeah.
end.
Yeah. So what's your like if you had a new student coming in what's your plan? Like, what are you looking at? Do you ask them what they want to get better at, or do you just say, well, let's start from?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's a little bit of a mix as a golf pro because you want to make the customer happy. So someone might come in with a preconceived idea of what
Yeah.
they want the golf lesson to be, but at the end of the day, it's my discretion what happens. So it's like someone might come in and they can't hit their irons. All right, well, they might be doing something like picking their head up early. All right, the best place to learn how to not pick your head up early is putting.
Yeah.
So we might go do a couple minutes of putting, a couple minutes of chipping. We're really focusing on keeping the head down, and then they put a 7-iron in their hands and it's clicking.
Oh man.
Right. So sometimes you have to go different routes, and the body learns. The guy who taught me how to play golf, he's a miracle worker. Obviously, you know, he 15. I put in a lot of work, but I couldn't have done it without him. You know, it's so much easier to learn in a smaller movement, right? Like driver's the toughest club if you're working on your golf swing to get better with, because some of the really bad things that happen in the golf swing, like gripping it tight, over swinging, not having a good weight transfer, you see that come out a lot in driver. And most of the time, what someone does wrong putting, they do wrong chipping, and then what they do wrong chipping, they do wrong from 100 yards, what they do wrong from 100 yards. And then by the time you get to drive, you're like, holy cow, I can't hit this thing. But you don't know that with your pitching wedge, you're aimed 30 yards right and you're pulling it.
Yeah.
You know? It's just that the driver exposes the worst parts of your golf game. But yeah, I like to do a total game evaluation, you know. What's your putting, chipping, pitching, and full swing like? And then as instructors, normally most instructors can tell you like right off the bat what are the issues, but it's coming up with a game plan moving forward for them so they can come out here and practice to get better.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just what's wrong, it's what is the process, what does it look like, how do I fix this thing? And that's the tough part, and I think that really is a skill, and it's a learned skill. It's something you got to give a lot of golf lessons. You got to learn it at a high level.
So what do you recommend, like we had one guy telling us, he said, come get a lesson, work on it for several weeks, and then come see me in like in a few months. Are you kind of like, no, come see me more often? And
Well, I think from experience, I probably gave somewhere in the 10,000 range, you know, golf lessons in Hilton Head. So I've seen a lot of golf swings. You know, I've gone through a lot of golf schools, and you pretty much, you know, right away what change you're making, how long it's going to take, right? Like keeping your head down, that's not a 2,000 or 5,000 or 10,000 golf ball thing. But if we're working on your swing path and you're changing your grip, it's probably going to take, you know, 5,000 golf balls before you start feeling comfortable on the course, right? And then there's different, you got to break it down from what is the feel, what are we practicing, but at the end of the day, everything you do here, what are we working towards? It needs to show off on the golf course, right? So there's a process where hitting too many range balls isn't a good thing. Hitting not enough range balls is a good thing. What are we fixing? You know, I wish it was just like everything we work on, you go and hit 500 golf balls, but that's not generally true. Now, I like someone to hit between 300 to 500 golf balls most of the time before they come see me again. You know, there's no sense in every day doing the same thing over. You got to have a little bit of time to put into practice, and then when you come back, I got to see, is the change happening, or maybe we need to go a different route to get it to happen.
Casey averages about 110 a round. So
I do not. I'm in the 80s, dog. Leave me alone.
a couple rounds and we're there.
I'm proud to be an 80s golfer now.
Dude, the 80s is good golf.
I'm proud to be. It's on the high 80s, but I'm in the 80s.
80s is good. I don't know what the exact statistics are on it, but it's something like 20% of people.
As I say, it hypes me up when I read stats on it, because it said if you shoot in the 80s, you're already like this percentage. We haven't touched 70s yet. So have you played a full 18 out here yet?
I have in the past. I have since I've been back here. I have not.
Well, what got you? Well, I want to know that. Like, how did you this spot? Like, how'd you end up back here or here?
Oh yeah, so this is kind of a fun story. I've actually known the owner Ashley for.
Oh really?
I want to say 11 or 12 years.
Yeah.
One of my good friends growing up, he became good friends with his dad. So when we'd come hang out with his dad, you know, he'd come send us out here and we'd go hang out with Ashley.
Yeah.
You know, so I've known Ashley since I was probably like 16 or 17 years old. And he knows I've been in the golf business, and he knew I was in Hilton Head, and we talked, you know, every once in a while. But it's really, I came out here and I saw his plans for this building. You know, I'm super excited about the bar and grill opening. He's got the beverage cart. He's fixed a lot of things in the clubhouse. The course looks better than ever. I finally said it's time. You know, I really think I can come out here and run with this thing now. It's super hard in the golf business to find an owner that's so hands-on. You know, most owners, they're part of an ownership group that owns 20, 30, 40, some, you know, a couple hundred golf courses. You might see the owner once a year. You know, this guy's here every day, and he's working his tail off. You know, he's a lot of sweat equity has gone into this
all
golf
the time
course.
We're talking about where else do you go to course to see the owner on a tractor, like moving dirt?
Or constantly, and I mean, you could go 30 miles easily, and this is the #1 course as far as like actually putting your money back into the course.
Oh yeah.
There's a couple in the area, and you're like, why do we keep coming here?
Oh, yeah.
Because they're not reinvesting, the greens are bad, the course is in bad shape, they're not cutting. And you come out here and it's like, oh, there's actually, he's cutting across. There's his dad riding another one.
Yeah.
And he listens. Like one of the big, not a complaint, but a lot of people's like, why can't we hit driver on the range? And he makes a way to hit driver on the range now. So
The
it's not
first
like,
time we interviewed him, that was my complaint because I was
Yeah.
like, I felt like my irons were okay. I was like, I need work with my woods.
Yeah.
And you come out here and it's just irons. You're like,
and he
I
fixes
don't-
it, and you're like, yeah, somebody that
Yeah.
listens to what people want. And you're like, this
Yeah.
is cool.
Well, it's amazing to hear him talk about the customers. You got to realize when he bought this place, they were doing 10 or 15 rounds a day on the weekends. There
Oh,
was
man.
nobody out here. So
Yeah.
it was a struggle for him to get the word out there that the course is improving and get the customers to
Yeah.
come back, you know. So he's seen it go from 15 to 20 rounds where Sunday we had 200 people in our books.
Man.
You know, we didn't have an open tee time till 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
Every single one was full, you know.
And it's cool for like, with us being social media people, like we follow the content creation and golf world, and like people we look up to is like No Laying Up. You see them post having events out here and stuff. You're like, okay, this is so cool that Ashley's like in that world now.
Yeah, and I'm super excited. Like, I'm good friends with Ben Kruper, the Pause King.
Yeah.
He's going to be
Really?
He just
coming
played
out
in the
here.
queue yesterday. I watched him.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
playing really good yesterday. He was like even through 14 or 15. I don't know what he finished, but
Yeah, him and his girlfriend Riley, they're really good people. They
Yeah.
were in the Hilton Head area, and I got to know him pretty well.
have you talked to him about that pause yet? Have you?
Oh, yeah. I probably played 10 rounds of golf with him. You know,
So
but
you
yeah,
like the pause? Are you a pause fan?
I'm a big Pause fan. It's inspirational, dude, honestly. Like, I found myself on the range trying it.
Yeah.
He produces so much power from
Dude, it's
that
crazy.
position.
When I was just watching him play in the queue yesterday, I was like, it's wild that he gets to that spot and he just is so flawless.
Yeah,
and
well,
it's
what
cool.
he likes about it started off as a drill, believe it or not. You know, so he was doing the drill, very similar. I don't know if you've heard the Tiger Woods video where he had to do that during the off season. He said it was his least favorite drill ever.
Huh.
He was getting to the top, he was working on his hand position, the club head position, but he'd get to the top and he would pause, make sure it's correct, and he would try to hit a golf ball from there. And he hated the drill. Well, Ben gets to the top and he thinks that he's got to swing hard. So
Yeah.
there's not a swing where he's laying off of it. You know,
Yeah.
so he likes that he can be aggressive on every shot, and it works for him.
Yeah.
I will say
I would do it if my game was where his is with the pause. I would
Man, you
start
just
it
need to
right now.
Start from scratch with all this technology. Come out here and one thing.
Oh, I'm about to. I'm
You swing. We're about to get some lessons going.
Yeah, I was already thinking this will be my stop once a week after work.
We had this idea of we want to do a video series, kind of like what I mean. Yours at Golf Story. Both of our handicaps around like 12, 13, but to try to get to scratch, how much work would it take for us to get there? As almost, I know you got to put in the work, but we want to see if it's possible with our lifestyle being husbands, dads, and we
Yeah.
don't have as much free time. And so now that you're here, it'd be great to try to book
Oh
some
yeah,
lessons.
I would
and-
love to do something
yeah.
like that, man.
And so
Yeah,
you-
it's definitely possible. You
Yeah.
know, it might take a little bit longer, but if you
That's all I needed to hear. Possible.
yeah, if you get the fundamentals down and you're practicing with purpose all the time,
Yeah.
you know, this is something I found out that's helped me so much because as a golf professional, we work 60, sometimes 70, 80 hours a week. So trying to keep on top of your golf game, it's not super easy.
Yeah.
If you practice the right way, you really don't have to hit that many golf balls. You
Yeah.
know, you could hit 5,000 golf balls with no purpose. This is something I told my mom. I said, Mom, when you dropped me off at the basketball court when I was 12,
Yeah.
I got better every time. Every time I got better.
Right.
You know, I was working on my shot, I was playing pickup. You could drop me off at the golf course. I could practice all day and get worse.
you pick up bad habits
Yeah,
real
you
quick.
could pick up bad habits where if you're practicing correctly and you go and hit 50 balls,
Yeah.
you just got better. You know,
I thought I was doing myself a favor a while back. I put a net up at my house, and I was hitting into it, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm fixing stuff, and I can feel it." But I was hitting to net 3 feet away, so I didn't see what the ball was doing. It just
Yeah.
felt like I was fixed up. And then I went to the range, or to the play golf after that. And I was like, "Oh my gosh,
Oh,
I didn't
yeah.
fix anything. I made it worse."
Yeah, you could work on, like, if you got a net, you could work on ball striking.
Yeah.
You know, making sure you're hitting in the middle of the face.
I was out there trying to make swing changes. I was like, "Let me get more here and here,"
Yeah.
and I didn't mess myself
Let
up.
me push it. I'm trying to start a draw.
Yeah. Just in
let
my
me figure.
3 feet net. As long as I hit this side of the net, I'm good. That means
Yeah,
it's
that
draw.
big push slice that you
Yeah.
imagine was a draw probably felt pretty good.
Yeah, you're right. It felt like I was doing the right thing. For people listening, what will it look like for you for booking lessons, availability? Like, what's your schedule like?
Yeah. So that should all be being released this week if you follow us on the Fields Golf Club. I'm working with Fair Harbor right now to try to get me an online booking system so I can manage my schedule. You know, another thing too is I'm trying to get familiar
Yeah.
with the day-to-day operations here. You know, what the staffing's like, what are the needs, you know, because if I'm out there giving lessons and that's not in good shape,
Yeah.
well, then I'm not in good shape.
So you're
I
going to be
don't
helping
want-
with all that in there
Oh
too?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll be over the cart barn and the pro shop.
Okay.
And be working with Ashley. You know, like it's hard to talk to him about increasing the rates because he's
Yeah.
worked so hard to get the customer base out here.
Yeah.
You know,
I've
but-
told him several times. I was on the phone with my brother yesterday. I said, bro, it's a $75 course now. I
Yeah.
said, there's no way it's worth $50 anymore.
Yeah,
At
I
least
think it's the
one
best
and a
deal
half.
around. And,
Oh, yeah,
you
it
know,
is.
he's worked so hard to get the customers back here that when he hears increasing the rates, I think he gets a little bit scared. Where everyone who comes out here and plays says, I can't even get a tee time here anymore. You know,
Right.
it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I get online. Another thing I didn't realize, we're only releasing tee times 10 days out to be booked. So when we're doing 200 rounds, it's not like it's been available to be booked for
No,
120
yeah.
days. You know,
Yeah.
it's 10 days out and it's filling up that quick.
Yeah. There's courses around here, I'm not going to say the name, but they, close to where we live, they're the same price as this. There's no
They're
way.
awful.
Yeah, it's wild. And they had a course in Opelika closed down for renovations, and so everybody was coming to where we're at, and so that course raised its prices, and it never went back down. It stayed there, and I was like, oh, I think it actually just went up again. So it's more than being out here. I'm
Yeah.
like, there's no way. This course is so nice out here.
Yeah, I mean, you've hit it on it already. It's one thing you're definitely going to get here is whatever money is spent out here, it's going right back into
right
the
back in.
golf course.
And
That's
you can
what I'm thinking.
tell.
This
Yeah.
guy's never drawn a paycheck from the golf course. Everything goes right back into this.
Yeah.
You know?
It's so nice. And
I'm
I know
so
everybody
excited
listening.
for the food.
Yeah, everybody listening like, no, price, no, it's worth it. Trust me. When you come out here and it's not like some of the greens at other places, especially if you've never played it, you got to come out here and play it.
And it's so relaxed.
Yeah, this right here is going to be worth so cool to me. So when we talked to him, I think it was during the day, like if you come to play, you can use this before your round, right?
Oh yeah.
And then on the
you know.
weekends, rent it for like groups. Is that how it's
Yeah,
gonna-
you know, we'll look at what the demand is. I'm working right now to get like a Fair Harbor system, a booking system where you can book this bay for 4 or 5 hours, especially in college football season. When we
Oh,
got the
man.
TVs out here and we got food and beverage, I don't want
Yeah.
halftime you being cut off.
Yeah.
You know, we can't just sell a bucket and people sit out here for 4 hours and have a
Yeah.
wait line. You know, so in the morning it will definitely be more for the golfers that are playing, and then we'll flip it into more of an entertainment center in the evening.
Yeah.
And we'll still have some grass that you can hit off out here, you know, if you're trying to work on your ball striking. But yeah, super excited about
And
this.
so, like, even with this technology, you can, if this part's open, you can hit off the grass and still use the TrackMan?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So you won't get, you know, the games you can play on the monitor, but you'll still get the data
Numbers.
on your phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'd love to have y'all back out here when we get the monitors running to kind of walk through
Oh,
some
we're
of the
ready.
games you can
We want to
play.
do it. We'd love to come film like an example lesson too, like so
yeah.
people can see.
And a breaking 50.
Yes,
we want you for a breaking 50 from
Here.
the Reds
Okay.
here.
Okay,
So,
from the Reds.
Have
Yeah,
you watched a
let's
lot of
do it.
YouTube golf or no?
I watch a little, you know, Ben kind of inspired me. I've watched his stuff now, but even he doesn't watch a whole lot of YouTube
Yeah.
golf.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this, when you play golf at a high level, most of the pros I talk to, watching golf is tough.
Yeah, it's
you know,
hard.
because
Because
it's
it's
just
work.
boring.
Well, Bryson started this whole thing on YouTube is breaking 50 from the
yeah.
forward tees. And so we tried it 3 times now, I think. Once at point we did it, but we used a golf pro
pros.
and the college coach.
Okay.
And basically we used 10 of our shots, 5
Total,
and 5.
yeah.
Okay.
And everything was theirs because they were that good. But we'd love to come out here and film one with you out here.
Yeah, that'd be
sick.
exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, the YouTube golf, I think the best thing about it is it's inspiring a whole nother generation to keep playing golf.
I think it's great for guys at our talent level
Yeah.
because, I mean, you see guys like Ben who are super talented, plus
Yeah.
handicaps, and you see us. And it's like, oh, I can relate to them. It's
Yeah.
like you try not to get mad after a shot, but you can see it. You're like, oh,
And you hit on it, but you know what's Ben known for?
the pause.
Yeah.
Yeah, another thing. What does he call himself?
Paul's
Paul's King.
Another thing. You're hitting on all beautiful points, right? You
Yeah.
got the pause. He says he's the best YouTube
Oh,
putter.
yeah.
He can freaking putt
Yeah.
the lights out of the golf ball. His short game is incredible. You know, that's
Yeah.
what makes him at that level. Another thing with the YouTube golf too is Ben doesn't do redos.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's hard too.
Well, you watch it and you watch people, and so from the beginning, we haven't really done it, and it's like you hit a bad shot and you're like, oh, it'd be so easy to redo it. But I'm like,
Yeah.
part of it is people relate to our bad shots, or they relate, or they just make fun of us.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times it's people that are as bad as us, but they watch us hit a bad shot and like, you suck and all this stuff. I'm like, if you were here, you'd do the same thing. Just be glad I left the bad shot in the video. I
Yeah.
could have clipped it out real
Yeah.
quick.
There's a lot. On the last time we filmed, We were going down on 11. I just chunked it
Oh,
in the
you
water.
shanked one right, and we could
Oh, yeah,
easily
shanked
cut it,
one
but
right
I
and
left it in
right.
there because I want people to see.
Oh, yeah.
This is relatable. Like, this is what happens for us out here.
You hit a great drive, and then you get down there and you're like, okay, I'm 70 yards out. What do I do?
Yeah.
Boom, straight to the right.
I think that's the biggest shock to everyone when they go to a PGA tournament. I mean, you watch golf on TV. If they're clipping over to a guy that's like a couple over, it's because he just hit a miraculous shot.
Yeah.
You know, they show pretty much all the great shots.
Yeah,
hit
you know
throughout
somebody's
the
about to make
day.
a putt. If he's on the putting green, he's +3. You're like, oh, he's about to sink one.
Where if you go to an event, you see him hitting the trees and hitting the rough, and you see
Yeah.
them duff the ball and shank it. You know, there's stuff that doesn't make it to the TV.
Mm-hmm.
The difference between them guys is they'll shank it and then they'll chip it to 2 feet and still make par.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was just watching yesterday. Grant, another YouTuber, he just did a video of Scotty,
Yeah.
and they were talking about shanks, and Scotty's like, well, I just shanked one at Pebble. And he said, I get used to it by now. He just, but to him it's so nonchalant. I was like, well, he's a pro. He just recovers. It don't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does happen. The best players in the world
Yeah.
hit terrible golf shots.
I think he was saying on that video that Webb Simpson has a shank counter because he's shanked it so many times.
No,
on
it's
tour.
a rate. It's for a rate for all pros.
Oh, okay. And they
Yeah.
said Webb's is really high compared to a lot of people, and
Really?
so they're talking about it. But no, we're excited about this. When he announced you last week on Instagram, I was like, oh man, this is it. Because like even at the course that's closest to us, they have a guy, but he's the older guy that everybody knows here, and it's like his brother took a lesson with him. I'm not gonna say his name, but his brother couldn't draw the ball, and the guy's like, "Don't come back unless you can draw it. I don't want to give you a lesson until you can draw it." And he was like so rude, and his brother never went back.
Yeah.
He was like, "I'm not gonna go back and get yelled at."
Yeah.
And so to have somebody that's out here that wants to see us get better, that's what I want. Somebody on my team
Yeah.
that wants me to be
Well,
better.
you know, you gotta love teaching golf. You know,
Yeah.
it does require some patience, but you know, I've taught people who've never played golf before, all the way to +3 handicaps. You know, everything in between.
Yeah.
I think when someone loves their job, you see it.
You can see it through it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I try to make it fun and exciting. You know, at every level, golf should be fun. You know, the stages of getting better at golf are exciting.
Yeah.
You know, once you start seeing your handicap drop and you shoot 79 for
Oh,
the
it gets
first
really
time.
exciting. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Then when Saturday hits, 5 o'clock, you got the club shined
Yeah.
up, you're
Yeah.
ready to go.
Is that TikToker in the bed and they're like
Yeah.
pull the covers and yeah.
Oh yeah.
You're
And
really
that
good.
gets me excited too,
Yeah.
man. I feed off that energy. So I want my students being bought in. I want them to have a good time. You
Yeah.
know, I love the game of golf and I love teaching. I don't have any desire to be a PGA Tour professional.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I feel like a lot of the people in this industry played college golf, wanted to make it to the highest level, and then they had to settle for being a teaching pro. You
Yeah.
know, and they're still thinking the same thing. They want to go play golf.
Go chase it.
Yeah, where I love to teach. I actually love the operations of a golf course. You
Yeah.
know, so I'm a true golf professional. I don't want to be a tour professional. I want to teach golf lessons at a high level. You know, I want people to be excited. I want my students to have a good time, and I want to help Ashley kick butt with this business. And it's super easy for me being bought in when he's that bought in. There's so many people here that
Just
are bought
culture
in.
flows from the top down.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So, man, I'm excited. Thanks, Michael, for coming over here and talking to us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
And so, if you're listening, we're going to do some more stuff, Michael. We'd love to come here, like you said, once this is ready, and
Oh yeah.
do a breaking 50 and a little, maybe like a little lesson with him. We'd love to
I'd
do
love
a
a walking lesson.
I was gonna say a
Or
playing
like
lesson,
yeah,
like
yeah,
film
that's
with
what I
them,
want.
just so people can see like what's it like to take a lesson out here, kind
Oh
of.
yeah,
That'd be
and
fun.
playing lessons are important because we talked about it already. But everything we do here, it doesn't matter if we can't translate it to the golf course. And some things like where are you aimed and just strategically, where should you be aiming? What shot should we play? You know,
Yeah.
golf's a lot more like checkers than chess.
Oh, yeah.
It's you're hitting a shot to set up a shot. You know, a lot of people don't understand that aspect of the game. So yeah, I would love to walk you through
That'd be
how
cool.
to think through a golf course
Yeah,
at that level.
we'd
I
love
need it.
Yeah.
These 6 inches from ear to ear, it's
It's a
wild
mental
during
case,
the
man.
round.
So everybody, come check out. If you haven't already been to the fields, come to the fields. But come meet Michael, get you a lesson with him, and that's it for episode 144. Thanks for watching.
Like and subscribe.
Yep.